Let's hear the public testimony on non-agenda items. Testimony on non-agenda items limited to a maximum of 15 minutes per topic. Public testimony speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker, depending upon the total number of speakers requesting time by the board. At this time, we have 30 speakers, so it'll be 1 minute each to address the board. And please remember, no referral of time is allowed, and board asks that speakers focus their comments on the issues and not on the individuals. When you begin speaking, the green light will come on, a yellow light when you have 1 minute left, and when your time is up, the red light will appear and the bell will ring. Please finish your sentence when your time is up. So we have 16 submitted early, and we have 14 late, total of 30. That's the reason for the 30 minutes each. So we'll start with the first 16. What did I say? Am I a supporter? All right, 1 minute each. Thank you. The board is awake. I've got a brain fog here.
Changing my shirt if it's 30 minutes each.
Kate Lebson, Francine Maxwell, Linda K. Williams, Justin Darling, Mario Valadilad, sorry the name, please pronounce it clearly when you come up and I can correct it. Eliza Ryson Hetu, Kelly Metza Matthews, Reginald White, Amal Mohammed, Tiffany Stump, Lance Wren, Jim Butcher, Anna Aaron Baker, Laurel Mudd, Louise Lucas, Lorena Arcega, and then I'll read the 14 later. So we can begin with those speakers now, 1 minute each, and time begins now, starting with Kate, going to Francine, going to Linda, followed by Justin and Mario. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Kate.
Somebody's ahead of me, aren't they?
Kate is first. Kate is not here. Francine Maxwell.
Francine Maxwell. I must have a misunderstanding of thinking that the San Diego Unified School District has a MOU with SDSU for engineering, because as I was speaking to the principal at Knox, she's trying to get something going with engineering, and the Lincoln High School is cutting the engineering pathway. So I'm just a little bit confused on how the pathway for engineering will be cut at Lincoln High School for 2016-2017. They didn't even reach out to the National Council of Negro Women, who is holding a STEAM workshop on May 14th for girls. They didn't reach out to Society of Latino Engineers, SOLE. We envision a world where engineering is a mainstream world in homes and communities of color. All students should envision themselves as engineers. NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers, always has a waiting list for any event that they throw in the community. So I'm just a little saddened with the lack of communication, with the lack of transparency, that in 2016-2017, Lincoln High School will be cutting the engineering pathway.
Thank you, Francine. Linda, Justin, Mario.
Hi, I'm Linda K. Williams, retired from our wonderful district, and good evening, board members and Superintendent Martin. I am here to do some please and thank yous. First, a thank you to the board who has supported restorative practices and restorative justice for many, many resolutions and many actions, and the thank you for the multiple statements of that support in multiple venues. And please include restorative practices and restorative justice in an upcoming board agenda very soon, maybe May 24th, as soon as possible, please. We know that we needed to have our speaker in town, and she was not going to be in town for tonight's meeting. So we will look forward to having Felicia share with you the excitement and the progress. And we also want to thank the people on the board in advance for meeting with us, and a special thanks to Dr. Mike McQuarrie, who will be meeting with us on Friday. Hopefully we'll get to meet with the rest soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Justin, I don't see her. Darlene, Mario Valladolid.
Mario Valladolid.
Thank you. Valladolid.
Good afternoon, Board, and good afternoon, Superintendent Cindy Martin. My name is Mario Valladolid. I work for Race Human Relations and Advocacy, and I am also here to advocate for restorative practice in our district. We are at a turning point right now where we are looking at the LCAP, and we are knowing that there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Right now we've been working at Crawford, Hoover, Lincoln, and we're possibly going to be doing a summer program for Knox this coming summer, but we are way under what we should be in order to be a restorative district. And what we were asking for is for the board members and the leadership in our district to give us what we need in order to become a restorative district. We looked at what LA Unified has been given in terms of finances, in terms of resources, and Oakland Unified and Santana Unified, and it's not even close to what we get. We're getting $800,000 out of the LCAP that's been allocated for us, that's been in the 2014, 2015, and 2015, 2016, and millions of dollars have been given to the other districts, and we're the second largest district. Our climate should be that we should be the models of the other districts, and we're not. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valladolid. We have Elisa, Racine Hitu, Kelly Mitz, Matthews, Reginald White. Those speakers here?
Yes.
Okay, and you are?
My name is Reggie White. I'm an active member of the School Site Council, School Governance Team, the District Advisory Council within the Scripps Ranch Cluster. I am the School Arts Course Supply Coordinator and teach art course lesson in the classroom and noon duty supervisor. I'm also a recipient of San Diego Unified Proclamation to recognize my action in saving a child from choking at Dingman Lunch Arbor in December 2014, and an honored recipient of the County Board of Supervisors recognition for outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to the students at Dingman Elementary, culminating to the proclamation of April 24th, 2015 is Reggie White's Day in San Diego County, and I'm a faithfully served 24 years in the Navy. I would like to bring your attention to a case of unfairness regarding my daughter at Scripps Ranch High School. I've met numerous times with John Kelly, the varsity softball coach, Todd Wilson, athletic director, vice principal athletics, and Mena, head principal, quality assurance office, and the area superintendent, but have yet to resolve my concerns. The area superintendent, Fabiola Bugla, has graciously met with us and compiled a list of questions that were later presented to Scripps High School principal, Ms. Mena, who refused to release the discussive responses at her meeting held on Friday, May 6th. The encounter was met with Ms. Mena showing a greater sensitivity of independent contractor John Kelly over the concerns of my daughter. My daughter is not receiving a fair tryout, denied scouting and scholarship opportunities, bypassed from receiving safety equipment, denied the opportunity to participate in departing season's activities, ensure psychological and emotional suffering through the before season text about varsity players, new uniforms, humiliated by third season selection of JV and contributing varsity sophomore CIF champion. Why is my daughter not being treated fairly from an athletic perspective like others at Scripps Ranch High?
Thank you, Reginald.
Thank you, my time.
Amal, Tiffany, Lance, Jim, Anna. Going down the line. You are Tiffany?
Yes, I'm Tiffany.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Tiffany. I'm an SWTA, School to Work Transition Assistant for the San Diego Unified School District. High school SWTAs are very disappointed with the lack of information that's been provided to us regarding the reclassification process from HR and the ability to get our reclass processed and pushed through. Our duties have gradually increased over time, which has changed our job description. I've been with the district for over 10 years and have never been informed of a reclassification process. After 2012, not a single reclassification process has been approved, but in contrast, management reclassification process or reclasses continue to be pushed through. The management are the ones that are delegating the gradual duties onto classified staff, and this is unjust. Human resources is supposed to help us and be there to support us, and we feel that we've been roadblocked in the reclassification process. We request that the board direct our superintendent to review the reclassification process with HR, which is currently not working. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lance.
My name is Lance Wren, and I am the president of the Operations Support Services CSA Chapter 724. Recognition plus respect equals reclassification. Reclassifications have been a topic of contention for years now. This is all about recognition of our work, respect of our workers, and reclassifications. CSEA is here collectively to share our concerns. We have gone through the administrative process that San Diego Unified and Human Resources set forth. However, the management staff that you currently have in place is not genuinely interested in our classified workers. Workers in maintenance have been told repeatedly by Acacia Theed to be patient and she would reorganize the entire building and properly address the salary schedule. CSEA heard her message in 2013, no change. 2014, no change. 2015, no change. 2016, no change. We request that you direct Superintendent Cindy Martin to address the dysfunction that management staff has brought to the Human Resources Department. Prior to 2012, the reclassification process had respected, dedicated staff members conducting legitimate reviews for the classified unit. We request the following: a revised, clearly delineated administrative procedure, reinstatement of the pre-2012 process, negotiate a fair procedure, comprehensive, meaningful, and fair, that HR commits to provide timely, reasonable review of all submitted applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Lance. I'm sorry, your name?
Amal.
Hamal. Thank you, Hamal.
Good evening, my name is Amal. Let me take a moment to address when you arrive. Since to me, I come to
Can you
this,
speak into bend the microphone down a bit? Thank you.
I came to this great country speaking no English. Imagine a person like me to Sunday school with no English. I had culture shocking and language better, but thanks to those teachers who have welcomed me with open hearts and friendly, because they make me who I am, and I want this program to keep as it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amal. Jim, Anna, then Laurel.
My name's Jim Butcher.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, hello everyone. My name's Jim Butcher, and I'm going to speak on reclass. I work out of Central City as a refrigeration air conditioning mechanic, and I've been working with the school district for about 7 years. The refrigeration reclass, we've been seeking a reclass since 2011, and we've been denied every single time, along with 120 other classified job descriptions. The current job description was last reviewed in 2002. And I was under the impression that job descriptions were to be reviewed every 2 years. Not the case. Since our last revision in 2002, my trade duties have changed and continue to grow immensely. Here at the district, we try hard every day. We try to grow, and we put forth the effort to go to school and make our own effort to grow in our trade, and it's not recognized by our managers. Our duties increase, and they will continue to increase as long as the new technology with air conditioning continues to get implemented throughout the district. Our job description have in some cases been written over a decade ago. Think about that for a minute. This is what our pay is based on. With these outdated pay rates, filling vacancies with qualified personnel is very rare. It is time that the district makes fair wages a priority. Thank you.
Anna, Laurel, Louise, and Lorena.
Good afternoon. I'm Anna Asaro Baker. Been with the district almost 19 years. I'm here to speak to you about the denial of our Level 2 appeal of reclassification for the senior high financial clerks. The current position description of the senior high financial clerk is general, does not accurately represent the work we perform at our school sites, and has not been updated since August 20th, 2001. You know, our job entails us to work independent, and it is a highly responsible position with an elevated accountability. This position requires the employees to have knowledge of full accounting duties and to perform all the responsibilities required in a full financial accounting cycle. It is important to recognize that the word athletics is not even mentioned in our job description. However, it is more than 50% of our job, in some schools even more than that. We have to perform all of the athletic financial accounting and reporting. This position requires knowledge of and execution of independent contract agreement and intake forms. We actively work with strategic sourcing and contracts. In addition to that, we report to an average of 14 different departments to the district, including our administration, our students, our staff, our parents. You know, I can go on and on. I understand the time is up.
Thank you.
But I really would like for you, the board, to look at what we have submitted. We spent countless hours submitting and putting together for you facts. Our information was not even looked at. I was told that my job is what it is. I get paid for working out of class every year. How can you tell me that my job is what it is, like it was in 2001? Really, I urge you, I even challenge you to come to our sites and see what we do. I used to work...
Thank you.
I used to work an average of 3 Saturdays or Sundays a month on my own, not being compensated. I stopped that last spring, and I can't tell you how difficult my job is because I am so far behind. I don't always have a chance to take lunch break. I need to take care of our students, our staff. We don't get compensated for that, and then we get treated like second-class citizens by the people trying to tell us that, oh, we don't matter, our job is, you're doing fine, it's the same as it is. It is not. It has changed. I've been with the district doing this job for 19 years, and I'm telling you, it has changed drastically. This month, we will receive an additional procurement card to purchase things for the ASB accounts. We will be truly a purchasing agent for the ASB accounts. Do you know, right now, I hold a P card, and I've held one since we issued. I go on my own time, my own gas, take care of my own tires to shop for the school because we don't get compensated for that. But we are required to shop with the P card and balance that account monthly on a timely manner. And then I have to police everyone to make sure that they're...
I hear the point. You made it very clear.
But
and
it's
I mean,
very...
I understand the passion behind it and the interest behind it, and that's why you have the 1 minute to present.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Laurel?
Hi, I'm Laurel Mudd, and I'm the Senior Financial Clerk at Kearney High School. The high school financial clerks as a group requested a job reclassification review and 2 appeals. All were denied by the HR department. I am here to inform you of the results of our efforts and the unsubstantiated results of our appeals. We are requesting that you evaluate our reclassification request. Please evaluate the job description and classification standards being used by the Human Resources Department. Evaluate the reclassification request process that is currently in place with the HR department. To support our claims regarding the classification system, we have found that our job description does not accurately reflect the actual duties that are expected to be performed by the financial clerks. In fact, the current job description is so overly generalized, it conveniently enabled the HR department to neatly fit our actual job duties into that job description, and that allowed them to deny our requests over and over again.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Loretta? Then Loretta will be followed by Roxanne Neal, Sabrina Hanlon, Deborah Beaver, and Anna Bonatati, and we'll have 10 more after that. Thank you.
Dear members of the board, thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Louise Lucas, and I am the library technician at Stanley Middle School. CSEA invited all of us to put on blue and rally at this board meeting today. Some colleagues and friends asked me to clarify why. This is what I told them in bullet points. The budget crisis over the last decade led to severe cuts in support staff. Technological advances have dramatically changed the scope of support staff work. Most classified workers have job descriptions, official job descriptions, that were last revised 15 to 20 years ago. Most classified employees are doing extra work, having assumed tasks from eliminated positions. Hundreds of classified workers have petitioned for position reclass, to be recognized and respected for the work they are doing, to have positions restored where appropriate, to eliminate artificial 1 and 2 designations where the employees are doing the same work, to align salaries with responsibilities. I've given you copies of my comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lorena, Roxanne, and Sabrina. Right?
Roxana. Hi. My name is Roxana Neo.
Okay.
I am a school-to-work transition assistant. In 2001, I was hired to assist a vocational rehabilitation counselor. My job description states that VRCs no longer exist within our district. My job duties have changed significantly. Even after evidence presented, we were still denied a reclassification. I request a fair reclassification. Thank you.
Thank you. Sabrina.
I gave it to you phonetically so you could pronounce it properly.
I know.
Sabrina Hanlon, Para-President, and I'm here also to urge you, the board, to instruct our superintendent to take a look at what's going on in the HR department. We speak to it at many meetings ad nauseum. It's not just this issue, but many others, but today we come as a group in arm, brothers and sisters, to say that we need respect, we need recognition, and we need reclass. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Deborah Beaver, Anna Bonitati, and Lindsay Birmingham.
Hi, my name is Debbie Beaver. I'm OTBS Chief Union Steward. And you've heard everything about reclasses. You could hear a lot more, and we'll be back. But the reason I'm standing up here, I want to speak out for the school clerk ones right now. School clerk 1 is one of our lowest paid positions. They run the school at the school site. You've got an ESA and a school clerk 1. At a K-8 school, they're the registrar 2. And there are 24 on the salary scale. We've had multiple people turn in requests for reclassification, and of course, they say that the duties are already there. And as we all know, with the way technology has changed, with the way the staffing is, and it's obviously a workload issue too, but I really would request that you guys look not only at HR and their obvious disrespect to our classified work, but to the K-8 situation, because they are a different situation and they require more staffing and higher level skill.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anna Bonitati, followed by Lindsay.
Hi, I'm Anna Bonitati, and I'm from Clark Middle School. I've spoken to the board before about my concerns for English learners. The first time it was because the ELST program was cut. Next, it was because the condensing and elimination of some of the ESL classes at the high school, and now it's the new arrival center. The new arrival center is being restructured, even though they say that's not what's happening, but it is. It was a program that was strategic, research, purposely designed, pedagogically sound program similar to those highlighted by the Center for Applied Linguistics. It's been very successful for the last 8 years. It's provided much needed supports for the students, the district's most vulnerable students, refugee students who come to our schools with limited or no formal education. I remember teaching ESL students when they didn't have the new arrival center. As a high school teacher with an English credential, I had no idea how to teach a 16-year-old girl how to read or write in a language she wasn't familiar with. The district's not been honest with what's going on. The teachers that are currently in the new arrival center have all been accessed except for 2, in spite of being told repeatedly by both the director of OLA and the executive director of leadership and learning that they would not be displaced.
Thank you. Lindsay Birmingham, followed by Danielle and Susan, and I might get in one more, Claudine, before the time is up.
Lindsay Birmingham, SDEA President. I stand here today in solidarity with not only our CSEA employees that are here to speak to you, but also with our new Arrival Center teachers and students. When I first heard at our joint labor meeting what was happening with the classified employees reclassification, I was very disturbed. My next meeting with the superintendent, I shared with her that I felt like they were being treated as second-class citizens. It's not okay for them not to be given a fair process and the opportunity for their case to be heard. I am now feeling that way with our new arrival center, not only our teachers, but our students. Our members are experts in their field. They have done this for years, and their voices are not being listened to. Decisions are being made by members, not members, some of them could be members, educators, staff at the district office who have not stepped foot into our classrooms or been in charge of a classroom or helping meet the needs of students. It is very disturbing what's going on, and I know the superintendent doesn't like to hear this, and neither do district staff, but members are starting to feel like those working in this office are losing touch with reality and what it's like to be a classroom educator.
Thank you. Daniel, Susan, and Claudine. I think that'll be it. Danielle.
Hi everyone, my name is Claudine.
What is your name?
Claudine.
Claudine. Not yet, please.
Oh.
Thank you. Danielle. Amayanga.
Good evening, Dr. Evans, Board, Superintendent. My name is Susan Schroeder, and I'm representing Mount Everest Academy and our current principal position. Dr. Evans, I am giving you a couple of packets that I'm going to refer to real quickly. First of all, I want to go to the history. If you look at packet A, it will state that our prior area superintendent had stated that our principal was taking a leave of absence, and it was being treated as a vacancy now. You were responding to a leave of absence and not a vacancy. It is now being treated as a vacancy. We have had some issues with that. If you'll look at packet B, I've got a couple of kudos here that we have gained a 6-year accreditation on our school. This is an independent study program. It's phenomenal. It's very highly integrated with the parent involvement. I am a parent. I've been a volunteer for 11 years. We are not getting heard. Our staff, we've got our Bivens, our area superintendent said that we could thwart the process if we had enough support to thwart the process. This is the support he's receiving. This is just some of it. This is parents, students, and faculty members, teachers that are putting their names on the line because they're fearing retaliation, some of them.
So have you turned in that folder? Do we have that?
I'm sorry?
Do we have that information?
All of this?
Yeah.
Mr. Bivens does have all of this, sir,
okay,
and more. Okay? We are very concerned about what's happening. We're concerned about the lack of transparency and the deception that's happening and not being heard. I've made multiple calls to the district and not had answers back. You are interested in parent involvement. You've got it. These people are so interested in what's going on with our school, and this is just part of them. And we're very concerned about what's happening. We want the leadership to be the right person for the job. Our principal wants to come back, and we fully support him coming back. Please let him come back to his position. Offer that position to him.
Thank you. Claudine? Thanks. Thank you for being patient.
Hello everyone, my name is Claudine, and I'm a student at Crawford High School, and I'm one of the new arrival center students that are graduating this year. I'm here to tell you that the new arrival center program shouldn't stop, because it's a program that helps students a lot. For example, for me, I came in the United States. I didn't know any English, but this year I'm graduating. That shows that they help a lot. I mean, if I'm graduating, it means that they started helping me with no English. They started helping me to teach me how to write in English. I didn't know any English. That's why I'm here to to tell you guys that that program is really helpful to us. Thank you so much.
I think we had two more speakers regarding this program. Is Quanine, are you the same, and Benjamin, are you talking about the same program? Yes. Yeah, we'll take the students here. And then the other speakers will be held till after the meeting. We've run out of time. But
thank you.
Right.
My name is Benjamin, Crawford High School student, a New Arrival Center student as well. I'm coming here because my New Arrival Center is having some change. There are not a lot of teachers staying. And I think it's something that we don't have to change. It has to stay the same because it really helps students like me, immigrants that come from other countries. Well, any acknowledgement of the language, we come hoping, supporting this great nation. And I think taking off these programs like New Arrival Center is extremely wrong decision for people that are immigrants. This is a nation founded by immigrants, and we have to and I think it's our obligation as a community, as a district, to fight for immigrants, to people who is new in this country and provide them the same opportunities that we enjoy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well said. Please state your name.
My name is Quinn Nguyen.
Thank you, Quinn.
Good evening, board. My name is Quinn Nguyen again, and I'm a student at UCSD at university right now. I want to address to the problems about the New Arrival Center. Since 9th grade, I was an immigrant and I could not speak English really well or fluent. Since I I get into New Arrival Center and they help me with learning English, and right now I'm attending at UCSD because I want to have a better future, a better hope. And imagine if new student, new immigrant, or new infantry come to the New Arrival Center. That will help them a lot, since they will give them opportunity to attend college like me. And I hope board listen to my concern as you think for other people too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have 4 speakers. We'll need to wait till the end of the session. That'll be Edith Smith, Chris Larson, Shell Shell, and Maribel Mercado. So we had one more student, did I hear? Yeah, we'll take the students, and we. Thank you for acknowledging that. You are?
Okay, hello, my name is Xiao
Xiao Xiao. That one.
Okay, hello, my name is Xiao Xiao, and thank you for giving me time to talk.
Sure.
I be going to a lot of meeting with parents and the district people, and I give up my thoughts and what we need and then what is right for us. But I feel like my voice is not be heard, so I came here today to talk again. And then we need more teachers. We need our New Arrival Center to stay the way it is, because I start with the New Arrival Center. Even not because of that, my English, and I won't be here today. Because of New Arrival Center, I'm here today, and I'm going to graduate next year, I'm pretty sure with honor, because my GPA is 3.82 and above. It's because of New Arrival Center. You might see our school as a ghetto or lower graduation rate, but if you go inside of our school, you will see a lot of diversity, which is really great, because you will learn from it. And then if you look at it, you cannot look at our school just because of our graduation rate. You have to look at different things to see which students is graduation more than which student, and you will know the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef. So Edith and Chris Larson and Maribel Mercado at the end of the meeting. And then we have to go on an approved agenda, and it's time certain. This completes the non-agenda public testimony. Thank you all for your comments and for taking time to address the board and the superintendent today. We appreciate your input, and please know that your perspectives help us to better serve our students, parents, and the community. Per the Brown Act, public testimony on non-agenda items is not a conversation or a dialogue with the board. If an issue needs further attention, the board may refer the matter to the superintendent for review and/or investigation. The Army JROTC Color Guard from Hoover High School will now present the colors. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Get ready, good. Right, face. Forward, march.
Thank you. I would like to welcome everyone present today and those watching the broadcast and call the May 10th, 2016 regular meeting to order with all board members present. If you wish to address the board today and your name is not on the speaker list printed on the blue paper located at both entrances to the auditorium, you will, if you have not already submitted it, please do so before the start of the agenda item, and then turn it in to Cheryl Ward here at our board officer. Speakers on agenda items will be called on to speak during the discussion of the agenda item. Once the discussion begins on that item, no additional public speaker requests will be accepted by the board. Per board bylaw 1025, public testimony on agenda items is limited to a maximum of 20 minutes per consent and action item, allowing for a maximum of 10 minutes per opposing viewpoint. Public testimony speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker, depending upon the total number of speaker requests received by the board on the item. The time may be reduced to 2 or 1 minute each. Non-agenda items testimony was heard at 5 p.m., and there will be a balance of those items heard at the end of the meeting. We now have a student presentation from Lewis Middle School, grand opening. Qualcomm, presented by Trustee Advisor. Any comments?
Yeah, I think this is a phenomenal opportunity for Lewis Middle School to present some of the innovative things that are happening in the Patrick Henry High School cluster. So I'd like to introduce Principal Brad Callahan and the students, and especially the robotics teacher, Christina. Come on up. Thank you.
Hello, members of the board, and I'd like to personally thank all our classified staff, many of whom I work with currently and have in the past, for your outstanding service and professionalism. Yes, I'm principal of Lewis Middle School, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Christina Bisceglia. Christina is our teacher who has piloted our new partnership with Qualcomm and Lewis Middle School.
Good evening, everybody. I'd love to introduce my students. They are the first group from our first coding class at Lewis Middle School. We got our fabulous grant from Qualcomm, which gave us a great opportunity to create a lab and makerspace where all kids, about a third of the kids, can come through my classroom and get some kind of STEM education where they're exposed to block-based coding, robotics, engineering, which integrates everything. What they're going to be showing you tonight are some fabulous projects in which they got to choose a science concept to work with our Arduinos to create some kind of movement, to show how things work, to illustrate their knowledge. So it combines art and science and technology, so it's really great, and they have a lot of fun doing it. And so here are some of our fabulous students.
Yes.
And our introduction.
And I went out of order there. I'm going to bring up Callie Preeb, please. She's going to tell you a little bit of something of our opening quick video here.
Hi everybody, I'm Callie Preeb, and not too long ago, Mr. Callahan asked me to interview some very special guests that were invited to participate in the grand opening of the one-of-a-kind Lewis Qualcomm Think-A-Bit Lab. Please enjoy our newscast.
Hey Callie, I'm glad you asked. We're really excited. This is the grand opening of the replication of the Qualcomm Think-A-Bit Lab, as you can see. And over here, we have created a lab where kids can do robotics, and we have our engineering room on the other side. We've got lots of honored guests here. We've got the mayor, we've got the superintendent, and most of all, we've got all the kids and the parents who are here to see it all.
Good morning, Ms. Michelia. This is so exciting. What do you think of your new lab?
I love our new lab. It's a great place for kids to get together and be creative and make new things.
Good morning, Miss Velasquez. Welcome to the Lewis Think-A-Bit Lab. I'm Callie.
Hi, Callie.
Hello. As president of our Lewis Middle School Foundation, how is your group connected to all of this?
The Lewis Foundation was actually the grantor of the Qualcomm grant. So our organization received the money, and we provide the resources to the school.
Good morning, Superintendent Martin. Welcome to the Lewis Think-A-Bit Lab. I'm Callie.
Hi, Callie. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. So excited about this morning, the grand opening of this lab.
Yeah. So I understand that you're a big part of getting Qualcomm hooked up with San Diego schools. Is that true, and how did that all come about?
Well, actually, it just started when I was at a luncheon and I met a man named Ed Hidalgo from Qualcomm, and he told me this really big dream about having Qualcomm help make a lab so that kids could understand the jobs of the future, especially engineering and what design thinking could look like. He said, "Do you think we could do that somewhere in your school district?" I said, "Of course we can." And so he and I just started dreaming big about it, and then one thing led to another, and Qualcomm opened a lab up at their facility in Sorrento Mesa, and then he said, "I want to get those labs out in schools. Can we do that too?" And you have a fabulous principal here at your school, so Mr. Callahan had been taking kids up to the lab in Qualcomm, and Mr. Hidalgo said, "Let's do a lab at a school. Let's do it at your school." And then things just started to happen. So that's what happens when you dream big and you believe in students and you want to create opportunities for the future. Things like this happen. It's like magic.
That's very cool. Well, thank you for answering the questions. Have a good day.
Thank you.
I'm Brad.
So San Diego Unified hired me to work with Qualcomm 2 years ago, and we've been building the Think-A-Bit Lab on-site in Sorrento Valley. This is an opportunity for Qualcomm to give back to San Diego Unified and build a lab on-site at Lewis for Lewis and San Diego Unified students.
Good morning, Mr. Hidalgo.
Good morning.
I understand that this whole thing was a vision of yours, and it's now coming true.
Yes, that's true. This was a vision of mine, but it was really a vision of my entire team, and we wanted to help students discover the world of work at Qualcomm.
The Engineering Academy is a pathway of classes at Patrick Henry High School. So any student who wants to apply can apply when they come into 9th grade, and then they can take up to 4 of 7 of our engineering classes at Patrick Henry.
Oh, that's very cool. We're going to go hear the presentations.
Think-A-Bit is a combination of a lab, a makerspace, and a classroom
for 6th through 8th grade students from all cultural and socioeconomic backgrounds. The classes are led by Qualcomm engineers and career coaches who open students' eyes to the diversity of STEM career opportunities and guide them to create, code, collaborate, and present their robotic creation. Okay.
Good morning, Mayor. Welcome to the Lewis Think of It Lab.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me.
We are honored to have you here in Lewis.
Yes, it's great to be here, and I'll tell you, I'm so impressed by your new lab here and your Think of It lab and all of the work that the kids are doing. It's great to see.
So may I ask what you think about Qualcomm and San Diego schools partnering up to impact public education?
I tell you, I'm so proud of this partnership. I'm so proud of Qualcomm. I'm so proud of our school district. This is about opening up opportunities for people of all ages and here in school and talking about careers that are available to them right here in San Diego.
That's very cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job, Kelly. Thank you very much.
Wow, Mr. Callahan, that was awesome. What do you think about all that?
And I got to agree with you. That was really something. I didn't realize we were going to have so much top brass from Qualcomm, the mayor, everybody here. It's really just super exciting. Glad that we did it. I want to see more girls in our engineering. We want girl power. We want guys. We want it all. We're doing it. Thanks for being our interviewer today. I think you did a great job. That was awesome. Thanks, everybody.
And we have 3 of our fabulous coding superstars here to show you their projects.
Well.
My name is Genevieve Foster, and hi. My name is Genevieve Foster, and in my coding class, I made a model of the meteor that wiped out the dinosaurs. You can see it over there. I used a single servo that swings at a 180 degree. That swings at a 180 degree angle, as you can see in the video, and yeah.
Hi, I'm Haley.
And I'm Ellie.
And we're in the coding class at Lewis Middle School. For our project, we made a windmill, and the motor inside the windmill turns 360 degrees, which represents a wind turbine.
And we used the motor to represent a wind turbine because the wind turbine in the windmill turns to make wind energy, which we can use to power our homes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for staying with us, everybody. And thank you, ladies. Thank you, board.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lewis Middle School. Great job.
Moving on to adoption agenda, I'd like to have a motion to adopt the agenda with
So
section
moved.
I.
Second.
Superintendent's agenda be considered immediately and acted on next. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Push your buttons.
I'll move.
Let's see, hold it.
I'll move item I, superintendent's consent agenda.
I think we already did that.
No,
So,
we just.
does any board member wish to remove any item from the consent agenda? Do we have any speakers on any of the consent agenda items?
Yes, we do. You have speakers on items I-6 and I-7.
So I-6 and I-7 will be pulled.
I'll move item I with 6 and 7 pulled.
In addition, we have items I-16, 121, 123, and 124. Motion has been made, seconded. Discussion in favor. Press your buttons. Vote. Consent agenda I is passed with the amendments. Moving on to D, report out of closed session. We will, I think there was some reports.
Yes, can you do the other items and come back to it when Andres steps back in?
We'll delay that. So, administrative assignments?
Thank you, President McQuarrie. I have 4 management appointments. The principal from Knox Middle School, Heather Potter. Vice principal from Madison High School, Janelle Olivier. Vice principal from Longfellow School, Paul Villar. And vice principal for Taft Middle School, Lisa Forehand.
Okay.
Closed session. Yes, thank
closed
you.
Session. Thank you, Andrea.
We have 2 matters to report out. The board authorized by a vote of 5-0 the filing of a cross complaint in the matter called Delphine Duckett versus San Diego Unified School District, and an appeal in the matter of Stacy Williams Grievant versus Unified School District.
Okay.
And 3 certificated employees were approved for non-reelection.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Item D2 would be our associated student body. Normally we have 2 here. Not today. Moving on. Oh, come on up. Oh. Oh, yeah, right up here.
Which side?
You get to pick.
Set up over there.
Yeah, you're
already set up over there.
You're on the dais. Right.
Sorry about that. Welcome.
So, Victoria, thank you so much. ASB President for Mission Bay High School. So please tell us a little bit about what's happening at Mission Bay High School and ASB, and if you can bring us up to date on.
Well, right now in May, we have a lot of our IB testing going on in AP, so all the students are very stressed out about that. I actually had my IB test today, so I'm a little bit drained. But for the most part, we have prom coming up June 4th, and then we have grad night June 15th and 16th, then graduation on the 21st, so that's exciting. And that's pretty much just trying to get past all our tests and everything.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and we want to encourage you to take part in conversations and ask the questions, and you're as any other board member except you can't vote.
Sounds good.
But please help us with the dialogue and help us to understand the student point of view.
Okay.
Moving on to Superintendent's Information Report.
I do not have a report this evening.
Board Information Report. Moving on. Oh, okay, come on. Okay. Yeah, Trustee Barrera.
Yeah, no, I wanted to thank Dr. Whitehurst Payne for hosting us at District E on Saturday night, an incredible event at St. Stephen's Church. And I'm sure we'll hear more about it, but at our last board meeting, we honored Sarah Rudolph Collins, who as a little girl survived the bombing of the Birmingham Church in 1963. And then came and spent a week in our district speaking to students at various schools about her experiences and helping students live the history of the civil rights movement. And her visit culminated in an event Saturday night at St. Stephen's, where there was a musical produced about the civil rights movement that took us from slavery through Frederick Douglass, through Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King, and actually concluded with the farm workers and Cesar Chavez. And it was a fantastic event, and we very much need to thank Frank Jordan and Bishop McKinney for helping pull it together, and especially Sarah and her husband George for spending a week with us and a week with the students.
Thank you. Other comments? Trustee Whitehurst Payne?
I would like to confirm that, and I want to say thank you to all of you. It was a very emotional time for me because she's my age, and to see someone who has experienced those things, and then she's not bitter about it. She's open, she's loving, and it was a message about forgiveness and moving on and accepting people for where they are, and for all of us to just move forward. So I really want to say thank you for all of you being there. And I know Cindy had an issue, and Kevin was unable to make it. But in general, I thought it went well, and I think it's going to lead, hopefully, to us changing how we present primary sources in our classrooms. That it's not all, history should not only be taught from the textbooks, but there are some folks who are alive who can tell a story from a different perspective and give us that primary source. Other comment would be related to just involved in my schools and been busy in all of them, in as many of them as possible.
Yeah, I would like to report out then.
Sure,
Yeah.
thank you.
I was thrilled to be here at the school board meeting when we did honor the wonderful service that she's provided to our schools. Being a survivor of the Birmingham bombing was just an amazing experience, life experience, and she's rededicated her life to trying to find solutions and heal our country. Unfortunately, the evening that you guys all went to the church, I was supporting Home Start, which is a nonprofit organization that services last year over 26,000 people in San Diego, providing support for child abuse victims and homeless single mothers. And so that was a very important cause, very close to my heart. And so I was very honored to represent the board at that event. Thank you.
Any others? I did some visits as well. Spent time at Carson Elementary attending an all-day workshop with COTA, the Coalition of Artists and Teachers. And it was a great workshop on integrating arts into the sciences and the Common Core. Also visited High Tech High, the American Finance Charter, and spent time at Alba. And I was very, very impressed with the work that Alba is doing with students that we have there in a small school. Absolutely incredible piece of work, and a school that we can be proud of that's taking on some tough jobs. Last week we honored our last meeting. We honored our teachers, and next week we will honor our classifieds. So looking forward to seeing anybody there. Any other reports? In student instructional matters, going on to item E1, Vision 2020, quality schools in every neighborhood. This will be a report on closing the achievement gap with high expectations. This is an information item, no action.
Thank you, President McQuarrie. I'm going to invite Cheryl Hiblin from our High School Resource Office up for this presentation. And tonight we'll be updating the board on Vision 2020 goal about closing the achievement gap with high expectations for all. And in this update, we will be looking at specifically our progress towards the expectation of graduation, our students meeting A through G requirements and our graduation rate. And I'd like to ask that as Cheryl begins the presentation this evening, you have the PowerPoint. I know you've all been able to review that PowerPoint, and it's really important that we listen to the full presentation as Cheryl walks us through where we've been, where we currently are, and how this has been put together. So I want to give Cheryl the floor, and then I'll have some closing comments towards the end, and then of course board I'm sure we'll have some comments, but tonight is a very special and important night, a tremendous amount of work to get us to where we are, something that had been passed as board policy back in 2009, and we're able to, specifically June 9th, 2009, this board made a decision to raise the graduation expectations for our students in A through G for all, and we want to give you a report on where we are in that this evening. So with that, I'll have Cheryl begin.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I thought tonight I would begin by setting the context for the data that we're going to see. And I think the most important piece is that we're reviewing class of 2016 data and looking at it horizontally. So we're looking at progress of seniors from September until June. This data is different than the 9 through 12 vertical data that comes out as our cohort graduation rate. So I just wanted to make sure that you know that the context that we're looking at tonight is this year. Towards the end of the presentation, though, I will show you a slide that will show you how predictions of graduation rate have squared up against cohort rate at the end, so that we can look and see how those two have laid against each other in prior years. The other piece that I wanted to make sure that we looked at was there are 3 significant milestones in this process, and we've made it to one of them, which are our January early grads. And then we have our June graduates, and then we have our August summer graduates. So we have 2 significant milestones still coming. One of the things to make this transition possible for higher expectations was we had to focus on counseling support. And so some of the things that we did for counselors at the 5 high priority schools, Crawford, Hoover, Lincoln, Morris, and San Diego High, each of them received 2 intervention counselors this year. We also, they rounded up the counselor allocations, so in middle school it was a 0.5 roundup, and in high school it was rounded up to 0.1. In addition, there were resource counselors that were hired for, at the Office of Secondary Schools, and they were assigned to clusters, and they've been supporting professional development, UCA to G readiness, access to advanced and dual credit opportunities, which include AP, IB, dual college, and university coursework. And so the resource teachers have been tracking each individual student, and I wasn't able to put this very large sheet, which I had to condense down to an actual legal page, but we literally have been tracking kids student by student, school by school, and watching exactly what's been happening. So I can literally look at this sheet and see the course that's missing, or the intervention that needed to happen, or if they're in a community college course. And I think this is really important because in order to do what we needed to do, which was not just query numbers and say, oh, overall, how's this group doing? We looked at every child and we're at the schools and working with the principals to see, are they in the coursework that they need? Are they getting the intervention that they need? Are they in the after-school program? So this really allowed us to do some technical work that perhaps we wouldn't have been able to do had we just been querying rates and querying numbers on transcripts. So this took tremendous work, and at the end of my presentation, I'd really like to commend my team for what it took to actually do this.
And we're talking about close to 7,000. How many?
So there are over 6,000 students that they were tracking day to day on these sheets.
Just want to make sure people understood the magnitude.
Yes, this is one school.
Right.
So we literally can, at any moment, look up a child. I can probably look you up. This isn't you, but I'm sure you're doing very well. Yeah, you'd be all green. But we can literally look up any child and say, oop, this is what we need to do for this student. So, so this was really powerful and took a lot of work from the resource team. So I just wanted to remind everyone what the changes were to our graduation rate before I report on some of the data. One change was that they had to do 2 years of the same consecutive foreign language or an equivalent. The third year of math had to be the third year of math. We eliminated unifying algebra, so they had to take integrated 3, and in some cases the sequence was in intermediate algebra, depending upon which sequence they had started with. ESL 5.6, this was a significant change because in the past, ESL 1.2 and ESL 3.4 actually counted in the graduation scope, and now ESL 5.6 was the equivalent of English 1.2. So there were 3 other courses to take. And then they had to take a year of VAPA, a consistent year courses back to back, the same credits. So what were the outcomes? Well, because there were concerns about whether the new graduation requirements would cause an exiting of students or an increase in math failure, we looked at some things very specifically as we were tracking this data. We were very careful to look at math, very careful to look at language, very careful to look at these pieces, and this is what we found out. So 174 students have already graduated early. And this number probably in years to come will be higher because of the ability to graduate early and take college classes before they go on to their next post-secondary step. Another very significant number is that 952 students demonstrated second-year proficiency in foreign language by passing the language other than English certifications. That's more than 4 times the number of students that did it last year, and I believe this number in future years will be higher if we are able to make sure that we have these certifications in languages that we don't currently have them in. Crawford is one school that will definitely benefit from this particular piece being expanded. And then the current data, and again, this is point-in-time data that we're looking at. The current data suggests that this transition that we've made did not result this year in higher numbers of students transferring in our senior class, and that it did not result in more students failing the third year of mathematics. So I thought those were pretty significant pieces in this work. So I'm going to show you some predictions about each site, and I think the important thing in that piece is to understand that in January, those graduates are complete district UC A to G graduates, pure A to G graduates. But what we will see in June and August is we will see a mixture of students who have met our standard graduation and some ed code provisions. So an example of an ed code provision might be a 17-year-old credit deficient pregnant minor that goes to Twain. And so we're going to see those mixtures. What I can tell you, though, is the results you're getting ready to see do not include the ed code provisions. They only include students who are on track to meet the new requirements. So what we are showing right now is that overall, 92% of the students in the senior class are on track to meet the new district requirements. You can see in the content areas that there appears to be no content area compromised by this change. When you start to look at the schools, and oops, I won't read all of them for you, remember that this is a pure look at whether they met district requirements. So imagine if ed code provisions were added, what could happen to some of these numbers. But these results are positive. So I'll just show you some of the sites. And then again, overall, 92% of the students being on track. And so I think that it's fair to say at this point in the year, because this is a preliminary look at the data, and the June graduation will be our first milestone to see the actual hard data coming out of this, it appears that our overall graduation rate will maintain or slightly improve. And if you look at in 2014, as of May 1st, 89% of the students were on track. They were predicted, like we're doing now, to be on track, and the final cohort number was 89.7. In 2015, as of May 1st, the prediction was 90% of the students would be on track, and the final cohort number is supposed to come out this month. And then as of 2016, May 1st, 92% of the students are projecting on track. And remember that all of these numbers came out of our IT department, so the process for generating this data has been consistent out of that space. And so I think that a critical point in this transition is that what's kind of amazing about this is that we raise the standards. And you see this, so it's very hopeful. And then finally, what I wanted to kind of end with before asking if there are any questions, this work, it was massive. It was just massive. And so I just wanted to really commend tonight, and they're all over the place, so we'll have to see if I can figure out where they are. First of all, where's Franny Del Carmen? There she is. So this is a vice principal who came out of Mira Mesa and accepted a program manager job, and then I handed her this enormous effort where she came up with this sheet and then was working with me. I'm like, where is it? How's it going? Which can't be easy because it wasn't always in this tone. And she did an amazing job, and she was the leader of this group. So I just really wanted to say thank you for all your hard work and for managing my stress. And I would like to also commend the people on her team, Belen Bahena. Where are you, Belen? Are you in here? Steve Baker, who's sitting back there. Kelly Balzer, right there. Kristen Dunphy, there she is. Kim George, and Kara Teschner, who are her team, who really, you guys are just so amazing. You're just so amazing. I also wanted to really commend, the principals, the counselors, my goodness, this does not happen if it's not a full team effort. And so the principals, the counselors, the teachers who've made transitions to different courses, to different students, it's just really commendable. And then I also wanted to point out, and I'm so glad Roger showed up, he's back there in the salmon shirt, but so I've been up here a few times kind of saying, we need a credit check, we need a credit check. So up rises from the teaching ranks this teacher at Patrick Henry who built a credit check for Patrick Henry, and then when I asked him, well, can you build a credit check for everybody by August? He said yes. So Roger Jaffe, thank you so much. Every counselor in this district, every secondary counselor in this district is going to be able to push a button, and you're going to save them 10 hours of grade level on the transcript check. That is just a gift, and you have a gift. You're coding, and you're amazing, and you're telling me I can have an A to G tracker with one punch too. August 5th, I will be waiting and ready. So thank you, Roger. And then I don't see Jeff Thomas. I know he had an engagement tonight, but my friend who I met when I was a teacher at Kearney, who's now the operations specialist at Sarah High School, he literally not only has built a master schedule tool that is helping us do equitable master scheduling, the kind of master scheduling where students with needs are scheduled first and given priority, but he also, thank goodness for Vincent Mays, who basically has been sharing Jeff with the sites and has released Jeff to support Lincoln, Crawford, and Hoover in their work, and hasn't said a word and has been so generous. So thank you to Vincent and to Jeff for all of their hard work. And then finally, some really amazing things are happening in these master schedule sessions. And so at Lincoln especially, it's been quite interesting. So Patricia Reese and Meredith Steinbaugh, who are the ELSTs, can you guys raise? Yeah. So they sit in the master schedule planning, and we give the rosters around. They look at the kids, and if there are any things that need to happen, any priority that need to be given to the ELs, any changes that need to make, it's happening in real time. And they've been helping Sarah as well, and they've been helping other ELSTs in Hoover and Crawford learn to do the work that they've been doing on the master schedule team. So just wow, you ladies are amazing, and I really appreciate it. And that brought in the special educators at Lincoln. So we built the team up to a larger piece for master schedule, and the special education administrator, Nisi Watkins, and the project resource teacher for special education, Diane Conti, have been joining us now. And so they're the two in the front right there. But these four, yeah, so the attention that Lincoln's getting right now, and the kids that are going to have priority, that are going to be scheduled with purpose, it's really going to be something, and it's thanks to these staff members. So I am ready for questions.
So before we turn it over to the board for questions,
and we have one speaker.
Okay. Cheryl, thank you for your leadership on this, the way that you just recognized the team that's been alongside you as you've led this effort. I want to make sure that you're hearing from me and from this entire board. Thank you for leading this effort, and you just went into the details of what it actually takes when the board, I don't know if you realize, on June 9th, 2009, what it was going to take to actually deliver on a promise that you made in your courageous leadership. And I want to speak broadly. You get very specifics about how this was accomplished, and from the ELSTs to the counselors to the teachers to classified staff to the entire team that put their eyes on students and figured out how to make this happen in a spreadsheet that goes student by student, even the one next to you. You can talk about specifically where she is for the board to understand the details. But I want to say, top 10 reasons or top 10 ways San Diego Unified was able to accomplish something, and that we can be a model for the state. First of all, it was the number one, or I don't know if this is in any kind of order, but our counselors, the outstanding counselors who had access to accurate information. To be able to have the accurate information that you needed, you played a vital role in making sure that our students met A through G graduation requirements, but it's especially true for our students with unique education backgrounds. There was not a one-size one-size-fits-all, push a button and then we know. You look student by student, and that you now have customized information to support, to advise, to counsel our students to make sure they're on track. I want to say that was a key way that this was accomplished. Of course, board leadership, the board passing this back in 2009, making sure that we were implementing A through G as a district's default curriculum. It started at the board level, and for other boards up and down the state of California to know what that looks like. Third way that we accomplish this is by this board's vision and commitment to quality schools in every neighborhood. We have that commitment, but we weren't actually offering college preparatory courses at every one of our high schools. And so in order to accomplish this, we had to make sure that we had access. In the past, not every high school in this district actually did offer the college prep courses that were required to be admitted to California state universities and the UC system. So as part of our broad Vision 2020 statement, we were saying to put quality schools in every neighborhood, we needed to look at master schedule. So that was accomplished. The district eliminated the filler classes from the high school course catalogs. We made sure that every school offered the A through G curriculum that was required, and that was each and every school, and that didn't just happen, again, with a switch of a flip of a switch. The emphasis on quality included changes like adding world language courses in middle school as an example. Another thing that made this happen was this district created a culture of academic achievement that permeated across the entire district. It starts at the earliest levels. It's not just a high school effort. It's from preschool on up. District leaders were in partnership with incredibly dedicated teachers who had a college-going culture, who believed in developing a climate that encourages academic achievement at all levels. That was evidenced with currently more than 1,600 students being enrolled in our college classes while they're still in high school. That changed a climate and culture at the district. The other thing that we did to accomplish this was focus on transparency all the way throughout. All the way throughout this effort, since we started working on it, we shared our data with outside organizations like Sandera, and we were able to share that data that allowed us to learn some valuable insights. When you share your data with other institutions, other organizations, those insights included observations that student performance in 6th grade was a good predictor of A through G completion. So that allowed us to get early support to at-risk learners. So being transparent, sharing with groups like Sandera gave us early information. The other way that this worked and the way we were able to accomplish where we are today is through great community partners. For example, Alliance San Diego. Alliance San Diego they convened a stakeholder focus group early on. They identified targeted strategies that would help the class of 2016, and then from Alliance San Diego, they made very important recommendations to us. In fact, when those recommendations came out, many of them were already being implemented, but that was, again, another way that we could have leadership with our community partners. And many of the suggestions one of them included expanding summer school, and several other suggestions we were already implementing. The seventh way that we were able to accomplish where we are today is we focused on the strengths of our at-risk learners. You don't accomplish what we've just heard this evening by focusing on deficits. We focused on strengths. So, for example, we helped our English learners get the credit that they deserve for speaking another language. As Cheryl talked about the LOTE exam, expanding access to the LOTE language other than English already allowed us, you saw tonight, 952 LOTE certificates have been awarded, which is a 400% increase. So at the heart of that is we focused on strengths. The ninth thing that we did was to increase our supports for at-risk learners. Don't accomplish this without support. It's not just about access in the master schedule, but what did we do to increase support for students that would have a challenging time meeting these expectations? We put in the strong supports that we knew they needed as early as middle school. We didn't wait until there was a problem and then react. We were proactive. We expanded the menu of tutoring programs, offered new summer school programs, and introduced online credit recovery courses. The ninth thing that we did, this is a top 10 list. The ninth thing that we did is we had outside validation, both with Sandera and Alliance San Diego, and they concluded that the strategies that we put in place to increase graduation achieved the intended impact. Sandera just recently reported credit recovery courses and an expansion in summer school as a way to tangibly increase graduation rate. And I would say, not that one thing is more important than others, but I want to say our students. How did we accomplish this? Our students accomplished this with a tremendous amount of work internal, external partners all across all the system. But you as a Board of Education, this system made a promise to our students. And we promised that we would raise the expectations, and we promised to support you to reach those expectations. And I'm speaking to you, but all the students that you represent, that we promised that we would support you if you promised to dream big. And you did. And here's where we are today. The latest on-track numbers show that San Diego Unified students today are set to achieve the highest graduation rate in the state of California among the 5 largest school systems. So the last one is yours.
Excellent. Before we go to board comments, we have one comment from the public. Tasha Williamson. Is she still here? Yes. Thank you, Tasha, for your interest in this topic.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all for allowing me to speak. I wanted to applaud the efforts of the staff and everything that they've done to present tonight, and all the hard work that went into presenting tonight, and to all the students that have really excelled over this last year. Within regards to the LCAP, it was really just a brief suggestion that we really educate the parents on the LCAP. I was in a meeting yesterday, and many of the parents from Lincoln and Sarah as well don't seem to understand the LCAP, goal 1 through all the other goals. And when we're talking about students, they're also attached to parents, and I think that parents really want to know the great efforts that and the achievements that are happening, and all the things that staff are putting into the LCAP, as well as you guys, the board and the district level. And I think that's not happening. So my suggestion would be for that the next round, or even before June 9th, we put some more effort into making sure that parents are educated on the LCAP, so that they can be properly informed, they can understand the budgets and the information that's being given to them, and that they're not just getting handouts of information where they don't understand it. So thank you.
Thank you, Tasha. Board comments and questions?
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank Cheryl for the great job she's done. And when we passed it in 2009, which was a long time ago, I really think that we have to point out that the real progress has been made on this in the last 2 to 3 years. We put that down as a plan. We intended to do it, but there weren't a lot of things in place. And I think really over the last 3 years under Superintendent Cindy Martin's leadership, we've really fast-tracked this in terms of being successful. I think it's also important to remember some of the people, we mentioned Alliance San Diego, who are not here tonight to celebrate, but Andrea Guerrero and Matt Yagyagan and others from Alliance San Diego, other community members who very proactively worked with the board, the community, the district staff to make sure that we did this to overcome the most common objections. You're asking people to do something, that the students to do something that they're not going to succeed at. You're actually going to create more failures. I remember a talk radio person in San Diego saying, okay, San Diego has just condemned more students to not having a high school diploma, in which case, you know what happens with people, he said, that don't have high school diplomas and so forth, that we were creating a track of failure rather than a track of success, and we can see the real difference here. There are a lot of parts that went into this. I mean, when you talked about the master schedule and making it student-centered, I know at a lot of places when I was saying that to people, they were saying, well, what schedule wouldn't be student-centered? But there were a lot of old habits we had in terms of this is what we're doing, this is what we like to do, that doesn't necessarily meet what the students need. And so I think the 2 parts really were high expectations. So we were able to pass a resolution back in 2009 that we had high expectations for our students. But that doesn't mean anything without adequate support, because I remember even thinking at that time, if we don't come up with adequate support, we can't penalize the students that are graduating this first year in 2009. But when you talk about, it wasn't numbers, it was students. Each individual student, what are they doing in terms of succeeding? I think about when we looked at whatever California standard test scores, we would say, okay, this is an 800 school or a 900 school, as opposed to what's happening. This is the average for the school, but what's happening with every individual at that school. And then finally, what's not mentioned here as much is about the teachers specifically, and because a couple of things that you reported. First of all, in world languages, that's a huge change in terms of have to be massive number of students that are taking world language that were not taking it before, and that makes a huge difference, and that was certainly a big challenge for all of these teachers who were able to work with them and they were able to pass the classes. I can remember working with a student from another district who was a senior and never had been advised that if he wanted to go to a four-year university that he needed to have the 2 years of language, and he was a good student, had everything else, but he didn't have that. So a lot has to be said for the world language teachers. And then also for the math teachers, because you said there was no increase in the failure rate of math in spite of the fact that everybody had to take this extra math course. So the district can set up the plans, the counselors can track and make sure the students are doing it, but it was these teachers who were in the classroom who were really making them succeed at that point. So I just wanted to point that out too. And this kind of report is so exciting. I would hope at some point we could have a similar situation with English language learners that we've been working on in a similar fashion the last couple of years, in terms of saying this is how many students have, as a result of all the change that we've made, and again, the personal focus, what's happening, not just what percentage of students are being reclassified, but what is happening with this particular student and this particular student in terms of their language development, just as finally orchestrated as an effort as you've been doing with the high school graduation rate. So congratulations to everybody who's been working on this. We just said it's a good thing to do. That's all we did.
Let's work. Other comments? Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Trust.
So yeah, I just want to echo John's comments. The only thing that's frustrating about tonight is that we don't have anybody sitting at the media table. We don't have any TV cameras here.
I just want to, there was just a huge article in the Union Tribune that Maureen McGee just printed about how we are blowing the doors off graduation rate expectations with this report.
No, that's good. No, that's it. This is a point in time, and we know that. But what this point in time signifies is a validation of our public education system. And it's important to validate our public education system because we've been living in a context for a generation that has questioned the value of our public education system. We've seen it in shift from California being the state that invested more in a public education system than any other community of people anywhere in the world, to a disinvestment in public education and replacing that with resources flowing to the incarceration system. We've seen that shift take place for a generation. And we've seen that shift in part rationalized by people who claim that the public schools are failing. And frankly, that claim that our students are not capable of success. I heard a quote from Dr. Whitehurst-Payne on the radio this morning about a kind of a persistent belief that students are not capable of success, and where that comes from, and the confusion about why anybody would question that. But let's be clear, people have questioned whether our students are capable as our students have become more diverse. So let's not mistake the racism that's always been implicit in that question about whether our students are capable. Let's not mistake an economic system that continues to make it more and more difficult for families to make ends meet. All of those things have gone into a generation of rhetoric that claim that our students are not capable of succeeding and our public schools are failing, and therefore, rather than invest in our public schools, we should put the money into incarceration. That's the context that this point in time number is delivering within tonight. So when we talk about raising expectations, so when we as a board took this policy in 2009, we had roughly 78-79% overall graduation rate at about that time. We're now on track for 92% plus graduation rate. That itself is significant. What's more important, though, is the reason we passed the A to G for all policy is because only about 50% of our students at that time were graduating having taken the coursework that's necessary for admission into UC or Cal State. And those overall numbers were skewed by the fact that in certain schools and in certain parts of the district, nearly all students were graduating having met A to G requirements without ever thinking about it. Students came into school, they were put into an A to G curriculum. When it came time to applying for college, they had taken the courses that they needed to apply for college. And in other parts of the district, students were directed either away from an A to G curriculum or didn't even have access to an A to G curriculum, so students would get to the point that they're applying for college and suddenly realize for the first time that they had not completed the coursework that allowed them to apply and to enter into the Cal State or UC system. And this has never been about an expectation that all students should go straight from high school to college. It's never been one. That's not the mission statement of this district, and that mission statement to succeed in choice of college or career predates any of the members of this board or this current superintendent. It's for a long time been an understanding that success means students being prepared to go out into the world, whether it's into college or to career or to both. But being prepared means you've got to have access and you've got to be able to master a curriculum that does prepare you so that when you walk across the stage at high school, at a high school graduation ceremony and receive a diploma, that it means something, that it's not just a hollow piece of paper. So when we took the step to make A to G the default graduation curriculum, it was in a context that large numbers of our students, even if they were graduating, were not graduating prepared to go out into the world and to be successful. So in a context of people doubting our kids, doubting our parents, and labeling public schools as failing, and let's be really clear that that was a direct attack on teachers, direct attack on educators. What we've seen is a district pull together and remember this context. Over the course of the worst budget crisis in the history of this district or this state, during that period of time, when the easiest thing to do would have been for our entire community to pull apart from each other, we actually pulled together. Those extra counselors in the schools that we talked about were actually the product of a collective bargaining agreement between our teachers union and our district that said we both want to make sure that we're investing in kids having access to the counselors that they need, in extra staff and support at our highest poverty schools through a collective bargaining agreement to get there. Show me other examples of a community pulling together in that way. The whole concept of raising standards in A to G through all came through advocacy and organizing by community-based organizations, including Alliance San Diego and ACLU and others, that said it is not acceptable in our community for our kids not to have access to the courses that they need to be prepared to be successful coming out of the schools. And so we listened to the community, we responded, and then it wasn't just that the community advocated for the district to do something, the community came and worked with us for several years to develop a strategy that identified the class of 2016 as the first class that would graduate with a A to G default curriculum. So this is a story of people who believe in our kids, who believe in public education and who are willing to do the hard work that's necessary to make good on the basic commitment of public education, coming together in a context where people were attacking or doubting kids and public schools, often to justify their own agenda. And we've now seen a record graduation. We're on track for a record graduation rate in this district. Again, what's important about the numbers that Cheryl just shared with us, and thank you, Cheryl, for your leadership. That 92%, it's not just the highest graduation rate in the history of this district, and not just the highest graduation rate of the large urban districts in California, but that's 92% of students graduating having met the A to G curriculum, as opposed to less than half of our students graduating several years ago having met that curriculum. And those numbers are clearly being driven at the schools where we put the resources and support because our students needed those resources and support. San Diego High School, Hoover High School, Morse, Lincoln, and Crawford High Schools. This was a commitment to equity, a commitment to the belief in our kids. We're going to get stronger and stronger. As Dr. Evans talked about, we are going to bring, whether it's English learners, Latino students, African American students, students living in poverty, all of our students are moving up at a very rapid pace and are going to equal these numbers as we go forward. We're going to see that it's not just passing the courses, but passing the courses with grades of C or better. We're going to see that number get better and better going forward over the next several years. But this is a statement to our entire community of what our kids are capable of if we just believe in them and put the support behind them that we need. We're a better society doing that than disinvesting and then locking up our kids. And it's time to end that conversation once and for all and pull together as an entire community to invest in our public schools, because when we do, our kids achieve this kind of success. Thanks, Cindy, and thanks, Cheryl, and thanks to our teachers and our counselors and our classified staff and our parents and our students and our community for making this happen.
Well said. Other comments? Trustee Pfizer?
I just want to echo Trustee Barrera and Trustee Evans' remarks. Thank you so much, Cheryl, and all of your team and the counselors and the teachers and the principals and the students. I remember when this board decided that Cindy Martin should lead San Diego Unified because of her decades of experience in curriculum and academics. And I'll never forget my first sit-down meeting with her. It was about a 3.5-hour meeting. And the first thing on the agenda was this challenge facing us 3 years down the road of A through G requirement for graduation in 2016. And she took the bull by the horns, and she has focused on it with the help of Ms. Monreal and the district staff to try to figure out how do we support the kids. Because we as educators know that rigor without support is failure. But rigor with support changes kids' lives. And that's exactly what you have done. I remember when I was first elected to the board, we've voted on the A through G a couple of times since then. And the plan with several of the folks in the school district at that point in time had lots of support. However, we just didn't have the money or the resources or the plans to implement a lot of those things. And when you became superintendent, you figured out where those resources were, and you dedicated yourself and the staff to trying to make that happen. And I just want to personally thank you very much on behalf of all the kids and the teachers for what you've done. And this is just phenomenal, phenomenal work. I mean, 10 years ago, we had 40% of our kids graduate with A through G. 40%. And this year we're on track to have 92% graduate with A through G. That's 52% increase. That's massive. And it's a commitment of this board and of the superintendent, of the staff, that we're going to have high expectations for our students. So, because public education and that document that they get is going to have meaning and worth. And I remember when I was president of this board of education, we had another vote. And some people thought we should toss out the A through G requirement. And I remember that board meeting like it was yesterday, that we all sat up here and made the commitment that we're not going to go backwards. There were a lot of other school districts that did go backwards, but we didn't. We resolved, dreamed big, and now I really am excited to go to as many graduations as I can this year. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sharon Whitehurst-Payne.
I am at a disadvantage here because I've only been here 2.5 months, and I don't have all the history on that. But I'm always excited when you produce results like that, because I've gone through and looked at my schools. You have to have the intervention. You've figured out the system. I commend you and your staff for that, and the person who's putting all this schedule together. You're to be commended, because I know, having done some programming and all of that, I know it's kind of complicated. So I commend you all for that, and then scaling it up to the entire district. I would also like to say that it looks like we've put all the resources in, the interventions, and to tie into what Tasha said, if we can just demonstrate we put the money there. Folks want to know, where's the money? It was put in to make this happen. And it was put in at school sites, reducing class size, additional counselors, etc. So in order to answer those questions, we'll just show them where the money went and eliminate any discussions related to that. And I want to say I'm happy that you figured out, and we can even ask her what's her situation, and you know all about it right here on the spot if we gave you that laptop to work on right now. So we commend you for knowing where every child is right now, that no child in this district can hide, because you know where they are, and every school should be able to go in and tap that child and say, you're here, you need that, and demonstrate where they are, where they've been, and where they're going. I say thank you to you. I thank this board and the superintendent for sticking to it and coming through with this. Thank you all.
Just one quick comment on what you said, Sharon, talking about your schools. Well, first of all, La Jolla is 98% on track. Morris High School is 99% on track.
I know. I saw that.
Yeah, I also want to thank you, Cheryl Hiblin, and your team. In other circles, they'll say it takes a village to raise a child, and here it's obvious that it takes a team to raise our graduation rates, and your team has done marvelous work and has made that possible. I did my master's question was on what happens with high expectations and student outcomes. And recalling, and that's sort of what we did here, some of that research and the findings as I took a look at the body of literature. And basically, as I could summarize it, two major areas. One is you have to have a belief system. The standards have to be within the realm of the belief. And if we can raise the belief standards for those who are delivering the services, as well as the belief of those who are receiving them, then we provide the supports that make that happen, and then we can do miracles. Good things can happen. In a sense, what we've accomplished here reminds me of another situation in the 60s when President John F. Kennedy made the promise that we would reach the moon by the end of the decade. And I'm reminded of the Dream Big, reach for the moon, dream big and go to college, and we will deliver what it takes within a decade. And so it looks like we will have a program and an opportunity for almost all of our children to reach their dreams by the end of this decade from 2009 to 2019, and we're well on our way now at 2016 with a 92% graduation rate. And I want to commend you, the staff, the community, parents, and students for the hard work that it takes to make this happen from the district to the school. So, congratulations.
President McCourt, I just want to follow up on what Richard has said about the lack of attention to this tonight. I know that people have a lot to do, but I would really like to see some sort of big celebration in this district, preferably before the end of the school year. Just throw it together. I don't know how. To really honor the students, the teachers, the counselors, the district staff, everybody who's worked on this. I mean, we need to make a really big deal about this, because when people see what we're doing with this, they're going to believe a lot more in what we're doing with everything else. So that's just a suggestion. I'm not personally directing staff to do anything.
Any comments?
I'm excited.
Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you very much, Cheryl Hepburn.
Outstanding. Moving on to item F, is there a motion to approve the board consent agenda items F1 through F9?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Vote. All votes are in. Great. Unanimous. Item G, operational matters for the board. We have one information item, Community Advisory Committee for Special Ed, CAC, semi-annual update to the board. Penny Kern, thank you. CAC Chair. Thank you for being here and the work that you do.
Thank you for having me. My name is Mina Kern. I am chairperson of the Community Advisory Committee for Special Education. This is my second semi-annual and final board report. You'll have a new chair next year. This actually follows very well my report through the LCAP presentation that was just given. Hopefully it came out right. I uploaded some images rather than linking them straight to the document, so hopefully it looks right. So, oh good. First up, this is actually what our brochure looks like. We hand it out at every meeting, and hopefully it goes out to parents during their IEPs as well. It has pertinent information on it, where our meetings are, how to get a hold of us, the purpose of the CAC. I want to highlight that we are all volunteers, that we work in collaboration with the district. We are an advisory committee. We don't get to make policy, but we do get to speak on it. So I just have two topics this evening. The first is the audit of the special education services by the West Ed, and the second will be on transition plans. So the CAC has been a part of the audit of special education services that was agreed on between the district and the union when they renewed the contract last year. We have participated in choosing the company that would perform the audit, giving input on the questions that would be asked in the parent survey that went out, and also in these focus groups. And then we actually just participated in our own focus group on April 28th. So the questions that were asked included what is going well at your school, what are some of the challenges you face, how would you describe staff attitudes towards students with disabilities, how does the district communicate with parents, what's your involvement with the IEP process, is there any professional development provided for parents through the district, and what are your recommendations for the districts. So they intended it to be open-ended and vague so that parents wouldn't be led to any particular answer. So I'm just kind of giving you a preview of what you can expect. For our group, there were 9 total, all representing various areas of disability, BI, DHH, mobility. We had everything from SEEK to 18 to 22. So I'm trying to make sure that at least our focus group of our members, which fortunately we have a wide array of, was adequately represented. But there was other opportunity for other focus groups that parents could participate in, not just the CAC. So next is a transition plan, which follows in with the LCAP discussion that just went through. The CAC and district staff has been meeting since November to focus on identifying and replicating the work of the vocational rehab counselors. We developed a detailed layout of pathways and timelines that parents and staff can follow to help design a meaningful transition plan for students. And we also developed a survey that was given out at the CAC. Our April meeting was about transition. And we're working on sending out a staff survey as well to determine where the biggest gaps of information are. So the draft transition worksheets I'm going to provide were developed during these transition meetings between the CAC and district staff. So the first one, but they're still in draft form, I want to emphasize that. The first one is the transition pathways after 4 years of high school for post-secondary transition pathways, and then the indicator 13. Let me make sure. So, as you can see, one of the primary reasons that this pathway worksheet was developed was to show parents and staff that life does not just mean TRACE. There are many options for students with disabilities, whether you want to stay at your comprehensive campus and complete your Option 1 diploma, that there is an alternative diploma, Option 2 pathway, and if you want to go through adult learning, employment, social services, it's kind of like pick a pathway and we'll kind of work backwards from there, and that's how we'll develop your transition plan. Not necessarily that one pathway fits for one student. The most important question is to the student, what do you want to do? And then here are after the high school diploma is earned, there can be adult learning, employment, and social services. So it's working with the student and parents and case managers to get these already in place before the student exits the special education system. And then we have talked about indicator 13. So on the right-hand side are the mandate checklist for indicator 13, which is like the skeleton, and then on the left side, the different boxes are more like the flesh to the skeleton. So it's not just compliance, it's about building a comprehensive plan that meets the goals of the student. So it's been a lot of work for this group that we've done in a very short amount of time, and it's really laid out a comprehensive, easy to follow. It's a lot of information for anyone to digest at once. But hopefully this gives parents and students an idea of their options, and it gives staff an idea of how to fulfill those goals of the student. And then I wanted to recognize the transition team plan members, Christy Skadden, Michelle Christie, and myself from the CAC, Special Education Department, Sonia Picas, Lorelei Olson, Amy Perez, Dave Rios, Mary Grace Ridgway, Angela Watkins, and our vocational rehab counselors that we picked their brains for many hours, Fran Neal and Jane Duff, who's now retired. And then my last little piece is the new IEP software system. Has been in the pilot program for 3 weeks now in the Claremont and Madison clusters, and it's still on schedule to be implemented district-wide at the beginning of the school year next year. I know, short and sweet. It's well, the reason why it's shorter is because of the West Ed audit. I figured it's coming out at the end of next month, and that will generate a lot of dialogue. So there's really no point in trying to guess what they're going to say, or I'll let that speak for itself. And the CAC, of course, will participate in the discussions after that report comes out.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. Are there any questions? No.
Well, if I have the numbers right, I believe we have 15,000 students in the district on IEPs, which is an incredible high number. I mean, that's a task that you've taken on as an organization and a committee to represent the needs of all those students in terms of having individualized lesson plans that identify their needs and have activities and objectives that are annually reviewed to make sure their needs are being met. And that involves additional services, resources, supports, and it gives parents a sense of certainty that their child that is very precious to them has been assessed, has been looked at, and is going to be cared for. And there's the promise that we make, and it's the IEP that makes a difference. And it's the advisory committee that oversees that, provides that group of voice, and makes sure that we're implementing our programs in a manner that they're intended. And then your team working with our staff makes a big difference. I think that's why we can be successful, and that's why we can improve graduation rates of our students who are in special ed. So thank you for your service, and we'll miss you.
You'll be around. We have special ed staff here as well as part of the presentation. If you had any questions, I want to say thank you to Sonia and Lorelei for being part of the team, and Mina, the way that you lead the CAC when issues come to the CAC, you've done a really good job of helping us figure out how to broaden them. And sometimes there's individual cases that really need individual attention, and then you help us see when there's systemic issues that we need to be looking at, and you're working closely with the special ed team, and I think that will also inform the study that we're doing with West Ed, just that we're able to see when is something a one-off and when is something a systemic issue, and go after the systemic issues, and from a parent's voice to be able to help lead that conversation with our most interested and active stakeholders is very helpful to us as staff, and appreciate that. And thank you, Lorelei and Sonia and your whole team for being here tonight too.
Thank you. Moving on to item H, we have item H2 and H3 are informational items which have been submitted to the board. If there's no discussion, we will move. We have an H2 speaker. Lindsay, H2. Financial update on 2016-17 budget development and third interim financial report update, fiscal year 2015-16, in compliance with Educational Code section 42-131.
So this is a busy time of year, so submitted a few slips. Lindsay Birmingham, SDEA President. Just wanted to speak briefly on the budget and just remind you all of the conversation we have this time of year pretty much every year, and that especially as we enter into negotiations, that your budget documents show district priorities, as well as the district agenda. Your agenda for your board meetings also show priorities. So I just wanted to call people's attention to a few things. A report of closed session shows that you're now spending money on appealing an arbitration that was fairly decided by an arbitrator. There are also 2 more additional contracts in the superintendent's agenda on outside law firms when we have a very robust legal department within our district. Your budget documents that you're being presented with right now show that there's an 11% decrease in what was originally budgeted for SDEA unit members. That's a saving of over $10 million. Because of that, the STIRS contribution is lower, as well as the health benefits contribution is lower, which adds up to even more money. Travel and conferences are up 58%, consulting is up 12%, and the unrestricted reserves, there's over $11 million more than what was expected. I just wanted to make sure to draw your attention to all of those items and remind you all that the decisions that are made at the board and what we see in these budget documents really do show the priorities of our district, and I hope those priorities will be taken into account as we move forward.
Right. Good reminder. Thank you. Any comments, discussion on any of those 2 items? If not, we'll move on to item H4.
I'll move item H4, the educators' declaration for 2016-17.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We also have a speaker. Lindsay, back up.
Should have just stayed up here. Lindsay Birmingham, SDEA president. So reading over this document, I think I understood it correctly. It's for the 16-17 school year. And the district is, in this document, identifying areas where limited assignment permits are going to be necessary. And so I just wanted to share a few words. If we have any hope, I think as you heard in my frustration during public comment, if we have any hope of recruiting and retaining educators, we not only need to pay them a competitive salary, but we also must treat them with respect. As I said before, they are the professionals in the classrooms working with our students every single day. And so we all know that there is a teacher shortage, an educator shortage, not only teachers, but counselors, speech and language pathologists coming, and we need to make sure that what we're doing is showing our educators that they want to come here, and once they come to our district, that we are going to support them, provide them the resources they need, and treat them with the respect that they deserve. We need to make sure that when we're having conversations, we not only talk about our value of shared decision making, but we also show it. The same goes for collaboration. Issues like the new arrival centers that we heard about earlier. The district should be coming to SDA members with the problems and working together to come up with those solutions. Instead of making decisions here and then coming to us to figure out, okay, how can we implement those and make those happen? And so really for this, I think this shows that we have a shortage. We're going to need limited assignment permits moving forward, as we have in the past few years, especially in special education. Part of that, I believe, is because there is so much put on the plates of our special education providers. They are constantly trying to balance the need to complete the necessary paperwork as well as their number one priority of meeting the needs of their students. So as we look at things like this and see that that is the largest number of permits we're going to need, we need to figure out how we can support those educators so that they have what they need to actually be successful. It's one of also the job groups that we have the most turnover in. Teachers leaving special education, going from special education to general education, because not that they don't want to be in that position. They came into that position for a reason, to serve some of our most neediest students. They have a passion for serving students. Yet, if you come to work every day and you don't feel like you can actually do your job, that you actually have the support and the resources you need to be successful, it's really hard to stay in that position. So I just hope the board will take that into account as you move forward. And that's it. Thanks.
Definitely high priority. I have one question. The last item on this mentions the colleges and universities that will participate in the intern program. And I thought we had a UCSD at Mission Bay, but I don't see UCSD on. Oh, I withdraw my concern. Thank you so much. You have comments? Sure. I see it. Thank you.
In terms of special education, I would hope at some point that we as a district would perhaps take a look at the model that some schools are using for resource specialists. Temecula Valley, to be specific, has a plan where there's an administrator assigned to IPs, to all the IPs in that school, and they have clerical support. They have the non-teaching dimension covered by a staff that then relieves some of that responsibility from teachers of trying to make appointments, schedule meetings, all of those kind of support things that drive resource specialists away. That is, as I said to Dr. Mike, that's one of the most complicated jobs in the entire district, because resource specialists have to be managers of people. They're interfacing with all the teachers, with parents. They're scheduling meetings. They're just doing everything on the campus without a lot of support. So some of the other schools are looking at the model of supplying some of that infrastructure to help them so that they can at least be successful in working with the children and then not having to schedule all these IEP meetings on and on and on. Just a thought.
Any other comments? Ready to vote? Push your buttons. Unanimous. There are 3 speakers. Public comment if they're still in the room.
We have item I6 and 7.
Did I move to? Oh, that's right. Thank you so much.
So you have speakers on 6 and 7.
Right. So we went through. Item I didn't mark it. 7? Was it 7? Item I6? Okay. First Amendment to agreement with item I6 is Lindsay. Lindsay.
Last one for tonight, I promise. I just wanted to draw the school board's attention to this agenda item. Last Wednesday on May 4th was a very exciting day for me as an educator, and I think for our superintendent in this district, where our superintendent was able to come out and share with the community about our focus on teaching and learning, and that our district won't be requiring unnecessary district mandated assessments, that we'll be providing our schools, our teachers, our counselors, our administrators, the resources they need to make site-based decisions on how to best assess and measure the progress of students. When I was going through the agenda today, my little radar went off as soon as I saw Achieve 3000, because I knew I had heard about it somewhere. And so I, as we often go to social media, posted a little thing on there, hey, give me some information, what do you think, what's going on with this piece? The other thing that was a concern to me is that over 2 years, $1.2 million is going to one online program. And it's an online program that supports reading comprehension. It has primarily nonfiction articles based on what I've learned today in just a few hours. Nonfiction articles that can be differentiated based on student levels. So a teacher could, let's say, put in there, we're working on I don't know, I'm just going to throw something out. Chemistry, and there could be chemistry articles on multiple different levels. The concern here is $1.2 million is being spent on putting our students behind a computer screen to read online articles, instead of spending that money on actual warm bodies in front of them to support them, to instruct them, to encourage them. A computer program, as one person said, if a student doesn't get the 70% score they've seen come up on the screen, you are not college and career ready, because the student did not pass that online assessment. So I have a lot of concerns over $1.2 million in a 2-year period going to an online program, instead of going to, let's say, 13 school librarians, over $1 million of classroom resources and materials, books. Get every classroom a leveled Lexile library of all of the different topics they're going to be covered, and have them actually reading real texts and books. And so our members, there were some positive things that were shared. I'm being totally honest, as I am with you, that the teachers liked that there was a way, the differentiation, and that there was the opportunity for students to read one article at multiple different levels. They liked how students, some students, felt success over passing the test, but there was a lot of concerns, especially over English language learners, special ed students, and students seeing a statement such as, you are not college and career ready, coming up on a screen, instead of putting the money towards actual warm bodies in front of students, supporting them, or the materials that they need.
Got it. Thank you. There a comment?
This was my understanding is, and I don't know if Jim wants to add to it, but that, Lindsay, I'm glad you mentioned that some teachers love it, and this is extending what's already in place for schools. We're not mandating it or requiring it. It's schools that are currently using it, for them to be able to continue to use it, which is decided at the school that they needed to have the spending authority to do that. And I see Jim coming up.
Do all schools have the opportunity then to opt into this program if they feel that this is something they want to try next year that maybe they have not employed in the
or as
past?
Lindsay would say, opt out?
Well,
she's thinking people
but I mean,
shouldn't be using this
let's say there's a couple schools south of the 8 that haven't used it before, and that we approve this program, and then a couple of schools south of the 8 decide they want to give it a try next year. Would those children be able to take advantage of this opportunity in this action tonight?
Yes. Jim?
Yeah, they can. It's totally optional. If you opted in this year and you don't want to do it next year, that's a site decision. If you want to opt in, that's a site decision. It's completely up to sites.
But sites
And the
can't do it without
600,000 is
this
just
authority.
the 600,000 is just a marker that we approve, but we don't. The sites have never reached 600,000. We've never spent as a district 600,000. In fact, this year we only spent 265,000. So, and it's gone down every year, pretty much.
Okay.
Okay.
I just, full disclosure, we use Achieve 3000 at my school. Every single English teacher at my school swears by it. It has helped. I know firsthand students at my school, where I'm a math teacher, increase Lexile reading levels dramatically in the 2 years that the average Lexile increase is massive. We're talking 4 grade level, reading grade levels. The students that don't pass the article at 70% are given the opportunity then to take it again. One of the things that some of the English teachers talked about was they might have a class with, a bunch of children that read at the 1st grade reading level and some at the 10th grade reading level. And every child can read the same article, and then there can be class discussion, there can be a writing prompt about the article that they read at their level. And what the Achieve 3000 computer program system does is it produces the exact same article with the exact same content at a 1st grade reading level, 3rd grade, 5th grade, all the way up. So they're all able to read about the same content.
I think that's a huge benefit of the program.
And that's interesting because sometimes when students read a paragraph, they can't get through the reading level to then understand the content and then talk about it in class discussions or in content. So, while I absolutely hear Lindsay Burningham's concerns about the allocation of resources in our district, I think that, when we want to be very selective, and when there is something that is making a difference at increasing student Lexile levels and allowing a platform for children to have the equal access to content, I think that maybe it's something we ought to give a try and see how it goes. And then, we can reassess after a period of time. And from comments that Superintendent Cindy Martin had mentioned earlier, there are already some schools that have been using it with great success. And so I'd really be interested to get some data for the board, not necessarily, obviously tonight, but at some point in time, on what kind of impact this program is making at those sites at increasing reading levels. Because obviously we want a year's growth in a year's time, and so if this child increases 1 year's reading level, because there's a pre-test, a middle test, and a post-test Lexile level. I know some students in my school went today for their post-Lexile level assessment. To try to measure their individual growth, and it's very individualized, this program. I'd like to see some of that data on how it's impacting students at our schools.
The company provides that.
Yes, yeah, but for the board, for a board report at some point in time that you feel would be appropriate.
So just speaking to the company, could we check into that you're not ready for college?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not heard that before, but I will check into that.
I have not heard of that, Ms. Burninghamn, and so if that is the case, that has got to go.
Yeah, that's not okay.
Just something encouraging like try again, or don't give up, you can do it. Try it one more time, or something.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Solo. If no other comments, we're ready to cast a vote.
I'll move item I6.
Second.
We're doing 6 first.
We're doing 6. Cast a vote on 6, and then we'll go to 7. It's unanimous. Is there a motion on? We have a speaker on 7. Lily Higman. Thank you, Lily.
I'm so glad I stayed because we've been paying for Achieve 3000 out of our PTA and PTOs. Now I know we have the resource. Hi, good evening, Superintendent and the board, members of the board. My name is Lily Higman. I'm a parent of 3 students in the Mission Bay cluster, so I'm glad to see someone from Mission Bay here. They go to 3 different schools there, so I'm always driving in circles. On behalf of the parents and faculty of Barnard, I'm here representing Barnard Elementary School tonight. We would like to thank you for your support of our Mandarin Immersion program, which I think you know has been quite successful. I'm here tonight specifically in talking to the agenda item to thank you for approving, hopefully, the purchase of our Mandarin curriculum, immersion curriculum. You may not know this, but for the past 6 or 7 years, we've been running this program, a good program, without any standardized curriculum or books. What this means is our teachers have had to go on the web, spend hours and hours on the web looking at 8 different books to try to compile and puzzle together a lesson plan for the next day. This is not sustainable. And it's not only not sustainable, but we do not have continuity and there's no assessments available. So we don't really know at what level our kids are and how fluent they are and how they're actually learning the language. So basically we've gone as far as we can without a curriculum. So the Better Immersion curriculum that we are planning to purchase and we have piloted and love is the first Common Core based K-5 Mandarin Immersion program that will provide succinct pathways from grade to grade with continuity assessments and rigor. The goal is to have the best K-12 Mandarin Immersion program in the United States right here in San Diego Unified, and this is the crucial next step. We thank you today for your support of our K-5 program, and thank you in advance for hopefully you'll support the 6 through 12 program that's coming up soon. As you know, we had our first graduating class last year in 5th grade. They're now in 6th grade and we're having the same problem. So as soon as we can find a curriculum that is suitable for that grade, we will be coming back to you. And we hope to extend that to Mission Bay High. We in the Mission Bay cluster are determined to have the best Mandarin Immersion program in the country, and we thank you for supporting our efforts. Ultimately, this is for our kids and their future, and what a bright future they will have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lily.
I'll move item I7.
Second. Moved and second. Any other discussion? Vote. Passes unanimously. Thank you. That completes agenda item I. That completes the agenda for the night. Oh no, we have Edith Smith, Chris Larson, and Maribel Mercado. If they're here, going once. Edith, Chris, and Maribel. Twice. Edith, Chris, Maribel. Not here. That completes the agenda for tonight. And we'll see you again in May 24th. Meeting is adjourned.
7:30.
I'll never even. Oh, thanks. You texted it.
Yeah, but then you know who's.